Well, joining us now for more reaction to the firing of James Comey is attorney David Bruno and GOP strategist Chris Neiweem. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Chris, I want to begin with you. There was really this feeling in Washington, from what I understand, a lot of people felt that Comey had overstepped his bounds, had way too much power, and were even afraid to say it, and would only say so in closed quarters because that his time had been overdue. What do you think?
Well, I think that reacting to Senator Schumer's comments about why now, he said sort of dramatically, you know, my response to Senator Schumer is, why not? I mean, Director Comey was becoming sort of looked at as sort of like this statue and this political wind that goes back and forth. And with the politics of it, you just have to sort of distill that and look at what's at play there. I mean, obviously, Republicans and Democrats want to gain ground on each other. But when it comes to the Bureau, I think it was just time to move on. And the president's made that decision at this point.
David, Democrats are saying that this is a cover-up. In fact, the former Attorney General Eric Holder tweeting this: to career men and women at DOJ and FBI, be strong and unafraid. What do you make of that tweet and the message that the Democrats are sending now?
Well, that specific tweet, I think, is an objective one, is a leadership type. Because when somebody is removed dramatically in this fashion, there are going to be questions down the rank and file and the career FBI individuals. So what that message sends is be unified, because there's change coming, and everyone should stand aligned, because it is an objective agency.
I wanted to talk about the long list of reasons why people thought Comey may be unfit for this role, Chris, and one of which was Huma Abedin's emails, and that he said there were hundreds of thousands, and they had to go and correct those. Was that an embarrassment? Was that just one of many reasons that he's out the door?
It certainly could. I mean, at that level, we expect some level of not necessarily perfection, but high performance. You know, he was in that role. And, you know, I agree with David. I would also say, though, again, you know, people have been prosecuted for less or punished for less than with the things we saw in the Hillary Clinton probe. So to hear the former Attorney General, and hearing his name and objective just doesn't come to mind when I hear Holder. He's a pretty ideologue in my view. But I don't disagree. Yeah, Director Comey certainly made an error there, and I think at that level, an error can be a termination.
Would you define this, David, as a fresh start for the agency or a crisis?
I think this decision, in large part, is because of what Director Comey said in front of the Senate. And he said he would do it again. He would come out with a press conference. He would make the decision. He would upsert the DOJ's decision-making process. And that's the problem there, because we have a number of high-profile investigations going on, and the DOJ had to make sure that he didn't do it again. And that's in large part why they made this decision.
And so with this firing now, how quick, David, is it for them to replace him? How important is it?
Well, it is important.
Because the Dems say it's very telling, and that if there isn't a replacement, that it almost insinuates that there's some cover-up going on.
Well, there's going to have to be a nomination, an appointment process, and a confirmation through the Senate. You know, and yes, it's going to take time, I would imagine, because this is a hot spot. And Director Comey himself made it a hot spot with his press conferences and all of the public statements on these very important investigations.
And Chris, as we wrap it up here, what would you say to Democrats saying that this is a cover-up for something else?
Well, they're going to have their opportunity in the confirmation process to make those voices heard. And if anything, the president's scrutiny on him will actually increase. So I think that, you know, when you're president, you can make those removals. And this is just the constitutional process playing out. And we're going to go on from here and see what happens at the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
All right, David Bruno and Chris Neiweem, thank you both for being with us.
Good to be with you.
Good to be